Okay, good evening. We are now on with Florida House Representative uh, Patricia Williams. She is the state rep for District 92, uh, and she's been the state rep here in District 92 from 2016 to the present. Good evening, State Representative Patricia Williams.
Good evening to the both of you. How are you today?
We are doing just fine, just fine. So we'll just go ahead on and jump right on in right quick. We've been having a little bit of technical difficulties, but that's not going to stop us. So my first question to you is, what are your thoughts on removing a police officer's qualified immunity, and will you support a bill?
Yes, I would support a bill. I don't have a problem. When you are wrong, you're wrong. Good, bad, or indifference. No one is above the law. Anytime there's a problem, our officer has to put his hands on someone. We have what we call a blue team. And that blue team is supposed to start the ball rolling for an investigation. You start with a sergeant, to a lieutenant, to an executive lieutenant, to the captain, which has a review board to review anything that happens on that incident. If you're a bad person, by all means, you need to be removed. There's not, all the police officers are not bad and all of them are not good.
That's right.
But the one that step out of line and that's doing things that bad to people, they need to be removed. We pay our officers to protect us. And if you're not there to protect and serve, you need to be removed. Same with politicians. If you're not doing the right thing for the people that you serve, you need to be removed. You entrust us. When you bring us in, we entrust the law enforcement officers. If they're doing wrong, I have no problem calling them out and having them to be removed. Yes.
Right. Well, they just have so many avenues that they can exhaust before they even get fired, and it's just, it seems like it takes forever and then when you have a regular city employee that breaks the rules or does something stupid that and it doesn't take them that long to get fired, but a police officer, it just seems like it takes forever. So I wanted to know that question. So thank you for answering that question. Go ahead, Wayne.
Okay, State Rep Williams, are there any talks or plans to introduce legislation providing access to police disciplinary records and a database to track bad cops?
There has been talk around, there have been things that has been put together, but has it been pushed forward at this particular time? No, it has not. I think everybody at this point is willing to come to the table to discuss the problems that we're having. And I think by the problem that we had with George Floyd, that everybody right now, eyes are open. And if you're not willing to discuss the problems that we're having, you don't need to be at the table. And I was always taught, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. So somebody right now is willing to sit at the table and have that open discussion. And I have no problem. I came from an area that I have had my run-ins. Good, bad, or indifference. I don't care what a person has done. They don't need to be treated like animals. I think we all need to be able to treat each other with respect. I don't think all officers, again, are bad, but those that are bad, punish the bad for those that's good.
Okay, because I was just wondering, like other plans, was there any talks or plans to introduce like adopting a statewide use of force standard for every police agency, reform the law enforcement officers' Bill of Rights too, because I always hear about those Bill of Rights throughout every time we have a incident of a police officer killing a unarmed Black person. You always hear about the Bill of Rights and you always hear about their strong union. And I was just wondering, how do you feel about legislation changing their Bill of Rights?
I think things need to be changed, but I don't think there's one size that fits all. We are governed different according to the communities that you're in. And I think it needs to be a way that everybody can come to the table. For an example, you would not govern a senior citizen community the same way that you would govern young teenagers in the park. There's just a different way of governing. But in order for us all to be and work together, we need to be respectful to each other. And we pay our officers. They need to stay in their lane. We need to stay in ours. And if we can't work together for the good of the people, neither one of us need to be in these positions.
Okay. Also, what are some of the challenges that you think are facing District 92 during this pandemic? What are some of the things that you think that's going to be very at the top of the list during the legislative session during this pandemic?
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. We know internet connections go bad all the time. So Wayne, ask your question again.
Yes, State Rep Williams. I was just asking, what do you think are some of the pressing budgetary needs that's gonna be during this pandemic and when the House convenes again? What are some of the things that you think are going to be at the top of the list and very pressing that's going to be for Broward County and the district you represent during this pandemic?
I think one of the things that everyone is going to try to look at is being able to fix the broken system that we have for unemployment. We were over flooded with applications for unemployment, and the system is working, and it's working as they designed it. So it's not broken. We just need to fix the system itself. We had a governor that designed it to do just what it did. So I think a lot of us will be coming to the table to try to correct that, the way that it's set up and way that it's designed. In order for those that's unemployed and need to put in an application for unemployment, we need that system to work and work properly. That's one of the things I think a lot of us would be speaking of. And another thing I think a lot of us would bring to the table, the COVID-19. We need to be able to hear from our scientists, our health professionals that knows things that we don't know as an ordinary person. We need to listen. And we have people that's dying, and we have them dying by the thousands. The last count, we had over 3 million people tested positive for coronavirus. We need to be able to hear from our scientists and our health professionals and get this right.
Okay, and what kind of job do you think Governor Ron DeSantis has done so far in dealing with this COVID-19?
I think Governor DeSantis started out doing a very good job. A lot of things he did, I was surprised that he did do. But as of now, I think we all need to be able to come together and hear from the people that specialize in medicine. And I don't think we're doing that right now. I think, it's starting to be overwhelming for all of us. And for someone to be in that seat, need to be able to hear from those that specialize in that area and follow what we can to save the people.
Okay, and do you think that another shutdown is imminent? Do you think that we need to do another shutdown? I just want to get your thoughts on that.
I am very concerned because the numbers is increasing. And until we can stabilize those numbers, a lot of things need to be brought to a standstill, a halt. Wearing masks all the time. You have some that's wearing them, some that don't. You have some that's out and some that's in. When you have tested positive, you need to quarantine off. You need to stay in for those 2 weeks. You need to go back twice to get tested, and it has to be positive. If it comes back one time negative, one time positive, you need to go back in. You need to quarantine yourself out and protect those around you. And we're not doing that. You have people that's all over the place and, not wearing their masks, and coughing all over each other. It's just ridiculous right now. And we don't know where it comes from. We don't know how you get it. And the bottom line, we don't know how we're going to get rid of it. So I'm very concerned.
How do you feel about the kids? The president wanting to send the kids back, and Betty, I can't think of her name, the education commissioner, Betty DeVos, I believe her name is. How do you feel about them wanting to send the kids back so quick during this pandemic when it has risen to high proportions here in Florida? How do you feel about that?
It's our job as adults to protect our children. I am proud of my superintendent, Mr. Runcie, for making the decision that we're not going back to school. We're going to e-learn. And I think that was a big decision for him to make, and for him to be in the leadership position. I am happy that he made that decision. I don't think kids need to go into school right now.
Okay. All right, Daryl.
Yeah, so well, we all saw what happened to George Floyd. It was horrible just sitting there watching that. And just to see that how that officer had his knee on George Floyd's neck, it just sends chills through my body every time I watch that video, that little recording there. And my question is, will you be in support? Will you support a ban on knees to the neck and ban on chokeholds?
Yes, I would. And I have been in conversation with FOP, willing to work with them to try to come to some type of conclusion. Everybody don't understand the dynamic that has on a certain community, and we all know what community we're speaking of. But just ask yourself, why are certain areas policed differently? Why is it every time an officer has committed a crime on an individual, it's always in the Black community? Why do you not hear that an officer pulled his gun and killed a Caucasian young man? Why is it always the Black community? Is it additional training that's needed? Or is it that there's a threat for a reason? And I know, and you know, that certain things you're not born with. So you are taught racism. You're taught to be mean and cruel to a certain race. But let's think about it. Why don't we hear it in any other race? There's a reason for that. And I think right now, us being at the table and being open to discuss the problems that we feel that has went on in our community, it is a big plus right now. Me, myself, I was 15 years old when my first encounter with a police officer, walking down the street, minding my own business. Here comes this officer telling me to get on the ground. Get on the ground. I still hear his voice in my head. 30 years later, my son is a police officer in his uniform. Y'all think we're gonna get through this?
I think we're not far.
We got one or two more questions, and we're going to let you go because our internet connection doesn't want to act right today, and it's not your fault. It's just the internet connection. Now. You're doing a wonderful job, so don't think that it's you. It's just these things happen, you know, when you're recording, and these things happen. So don't feel like that. All right, Wayne, go ahead. If you have another question for the state rep.
Yeah. I got another question, and I know, State Rep, this question has been thrown around during this election cycle for the President of the United States. I know I have saw on TV on different programs where this question here was also asked. How do you feel about reparations for foundational Black Americans?
I feel it's needed, but how will we recruit? What will we put in place? What does that look like?
Mm-hmm.
Hello?
Right.
Oh, there it goes again. Okay.
Okay, State Rep, you were saying how would that, what would it look like and how would it be put in place for the reparation?
Right.
Yeah, I know that they commissioned a commission actually to study that. I believe months ago I was looking at hearings, and that's a good question. I always like ask, I just want to know how our politicians feel about reparations, and is it needed for African Americans, which I believe it is. I believe some type of reparations are needed because the Japanese received it, different groups,
The Indians.
Indians get it, and I think some Jewish people still receive reparations from World War II, which is just. And I always just wondered, how do our politicians feel about reparations for Black people?
I think it's needed. I think it's needed, and I think a discussion needs to be had. You know, a lot of discussion goes on, but my question is, once the discussion has taken place, how do we get from point A to point B? What are we going to do to make these things happen? A lot of people want to close their eyes to certain situations and certain instances, not understanding that a lot of things impact people a different way. We always last on everything. Let's even talk when we're talking about the COVID-19, the test sites. It was months and months and months down the road for us to even get some test sites in certain areas. And we should have been one of the first ones to get them because we have all these underlying issues that take place that we carry from day to day. And when we talk about workers, let's just think, who's the first person to go back to work? You know, people that look like you and I. You know, everybody can sit home in their castles and look at how things should take place, but they're not understanding how it affects another person.
Mm-hmm. Do you think there's enough testing sites in Broward County now, or we need more?
Well, the last testing site that I know was put in place was in the city of Deerfield, and it had not been one there. The city of Deerfield didn't have one. Then we got the one that was in the city of Pompano, and you had testing sites everywhere else. But the city of Pompano and the city of Deerfield were people that look like you and I, that struggles from day to day, that it can't get to a hospital when overnight. They can't get to a testing site between 8 and 5 because they're working all day. Those are the type of people that needs testing sites to be in place. They were not. They didn't come until later on in the game. And once they got there, you know, it's like we already had, it had spread it so bad till, you know, right now we're still playing catch up.
Mm-hmm. Do you get a lot of support from, as far as not you as a rep, but as from the local officials here in dealing with a lot of the problems that we have? Do you get support from other cities, like, you know, to help you while you're in Tallahassee?
Well, I came from local government. So local government are people that's on the ground. They're to the closest to the residents. So I talk to them a lot. We communicate a lot on different issues. If there's things that we can work together to make happen, we work as a team because we're serving the same people. The representatives that serve different areas, we communicate all the time because the area that I serve, it starts at Dixie Highway. From Dixie Highway to 441, from Hillsborough County line to Oakland Park Boulevard. That little piece that I have. Across the street, you have a different representative, and on the opposite side, you have another. But we serve pretty much the same types of problems. So yes, we work together. We have commissioners that we call upon that, you know, give us the information that we should be working upon. When we go to Tallahassee, the bill that we put forth, it comes from our cities. We communicate with them. We try to find what they need. Once we can find what they need, we put the appropriations through to try to make things happen. But a lot of times we can put the appropriation in. The budget cut a lot of projects out. 95% of the projects that was there was cut out because of COVID-19. That was this time. The time before, All the projects that was cut out, they were cut out because we had the problem over in Stoneman Douglas. The year before that one, we had all the projects cut out because we had the storm. But you have Republicans that get everything they need for their area that they serve. It's just a struggle from day to day because we are now Democrats. So we on the back aisle, have a voice of one when you're serving on a committee. Normally you have 12 to 13 people on the committee. You may have 3 Democrats and the rest is Republican. So you have to be willing to work across the aisle to make things happen for the community that you serve. And we all do that as a team, selectively.
Okay. Well, Dara, if you have anything else, that does it for me.
Well, you're running for re-election. Tell the people of District 92 why we should re-elect you as the State House representative in District 92.
Well, first, I have served as your state representative since 2016. Okay, and the person that's running against me, I haven't seen her, don't know her, can't tell you anything about her or what she has to bring to the table. But what I had 8 years of experience. I served on local commissioner. I served for the city of Lauderdale Lakes for 8 years. After that, the people chose me to be your state representative. And I'm transparent. I'm not bought, owned, or controlled by any special interest group. I work for the people that voted me in. And my voice is to serve the people like they would think that I should. My doors are always open, boots on the ground, ear to listen. We're not always going to agree, but we're going to agree to disagree. I am their voices, and I am willing to work and continue to do what I can for the people that I serve.
And I saw you, me and my brother saw you a few years ago. We got a chance to work along with you at Praxis in Deerfield for Miss Betty, and you did a wonderful, that was very wonderful. You took the lead and you did good. And I had saw you previously. I didn't know anything about you, but I saw your leadership qualities, and I like you from day one. I saw you, how you handled that situation. And from then you had me convinced I would never vote for anyone else but you. And I'm not saying that because I knew you. I saw how you handled that situation.
Well, thank you very much. When you have been boots on the ground, you have lived in these areas that you see people struggling all the time. You've been there, you've done that. So you have the voice to speak for them because you've been there. I can't tell you the sky is blue if I've never seen the sky before. You know, but I have walked in these same shoes. Miss Betty was like a mother figure, a grandmother figure to me. And it was my job to be her voice at that particular time when she was in need. And I'm willing to do that for any one of the people that I serve for, that has voted me in and gave me the opportunity to be their voices. I will continue to do just what I can. And when I leave this seat, I want to be able to look myself in the face and say, I have done what was best for the people that I serve.
Okay. Florida House of Representative Patricia Williams. She is the rep for District 92. Thank you so much for stopping by the Adams Brothers podcast. You're welcome to come back anytime you get ready to talk about anything. If it's something that you want to get, a message that you want to get out to the taxpayers, by all means, just you have our contact information, contact us, and we'll give you a platform to reach the people of District 92. We know we had some internet connection problems earlier, but we persevered through that. Thank you so very much for taking out the time to stop by and talk to us. And good luck to you in your re-election bid. And please stop back by and see us.
That's right. Well, feel free to come back anytime. The door is always open for you.
Well, thank you very much. And two things, and I'm out. Number one, fill out your census package. Send it in. It's very important. When we are reporting the numbers, it gives us the opportunity to receive federal fundings for stuff as healthcare, school lunches, disaster recovery. If you don't fill out the census form, you're not being counted. We need everyone to be counted, everyone. And number two, and I'm out, go out and vote. Take 5 people with you to vote, or do vote by mail. We need your vote. You need to be we need to hear your voice. Your voice, your vote. I'm looking for you. Thank you.
Most importantly, go out and vote. And we all know somebody that doesn't vote, so take them to the polls with you. Again, State House Representative Patricia Williams, District 92. Thank you so much for coming by the Adams Brothers podcast. Come back and see us sometimes, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.